Yes, students, good morning and welcome to the class. I hope you all are good. And now, as you all know that yesterday we have started a chapter and the name of the chapter was 100 Races Part 1. So we completed the section 1 of Part 1 and now we are going to start with the section 2 that is on the screen right now. And I hope you all are able to see it clearly. Now, the line goes like this. Venda Petronaski, most of the children in room 13 didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say like Thomas, Smith, Allen, and there was one boy named Bouncy, Willie Bounce. And people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petronaski was. Now it is said that Venda Petronaski, most of the children जो थे ना उस रूम के, in the room number 13, उनके ऐसे names नहीं थे, ठीक है? They were not having the names like this. ऐसे names उनके नहीं थे. So they were having the names which were rather easy to say. बहुत easy बोले जाने वाले names थे like Thomas, Smith, Allen, and so on. And there was one boy whose name was Bounce, that is Willie Bounce, and people thought that was funny. But not funny in the same way that Petronaski was. Now Venda didn't have any friends and she came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. And it was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. Now, Venda ki kuch zyada friends nahi the. Venda was not having so many friends as she came to school alone and went home alone. And she always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. And it was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends. Unke zyada friends nahi the, but a lot of girls talked to her. And sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard. Schoolyard में उसको surround भी करते थे. As she stood watching the little girl play hopscotch on the worn hard ground. Venda, Peggy would say in the most courteous manner, as though she were talking to Miss Mason. Venda, she would say, giving one of her friends a nudge. Tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? Now Venda, Peggy would ask in a very, we can say, courteous way. पूछती तो बहुत प्यार से थी. In a very courteous manner. And she says, as though जैसे कि वो किसी Miss Mason से बात कर रही है. She says, Venda, she would say, giving her one the friend nudge, एक friend को एक gentle सा push देते हुए, जैसे हम छेड़खानी करते हैं ना, बिल्कुल उस तरीके से. Just tell us, बताओ हमें what you were saying, that how many dresses you had hanging in your closet. You were saying now one day about that. So how many are there? Now Venda would say 100. 100? Exclaim all the little girls incredulously, showing unwilling to believe it. The girls, all the little girls says 100. And the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. And the little ones who were busy playing the hopscotch वो अपना game रोक के and they used to listen. ये क्या कहा? ये 100 all lined up, said Venda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. He says, yes, 100 and all lined up, said Venda. Venda ne kaha. Then her lips, thin lips, they just drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk? I bet. वो कैसी थी? What are they all like? कैसी dresses हैं? All silk. I think they might be of silk, said Peggy. Peggy ने बोला. She says, yes, all silk and all colors I have. Now the next one, further उसको continue करते हुए बोलती है फिर तो velvet की भी होंगी. Velvet too. She says yes, velvet too. 100 dresses, Venda would repeat stolidly. Now she says yes, 100 dresses. Venda repeat करती है stolidly. All lined up in my closet and all are lined up in my closet, and then they would let her go. And then before she would go very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. And then, before she would have gone very far, they just couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress Venda had was the blue one she wore every day. So, why did she say she had 100? What a story. Now, sabke sab bolte 100 dresses. Obviously, the 100 dresses. Now everybody used to say the only dress that Venda wore, जो Venda एक ही dress पहनती थी, and that dress was which one? The blue dress जो वो रोज पहनती है. So वो ऐसा क्यों कहती है that she has 100 dresses? What a story! क्या story बना रही है वो? How many shoes did you say you had? अब उन्होंने पूछा further कि क्या कह रही थी तुम? Shoes कितने हैं तुम्हारे पास? And you know what she says? She says 60 pairs and all lined up in my closet. I have 60 pair of shoes and सबके सब मेरी closet में lined up है. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this all alike. Now जो cries होती हैं of exaggerated politeness, this greeted this and all alike. Oh no, every pair is different. All colors, all lined up. Now they say, oh no, now every pair is different. All colors, all lined up. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Now Peggy, who had thought up the game, जिसने पूरा का पूरा गेम सोचा था, and Maddie was an inseparable friend. जैसे कि inseparable friend means जो Maddie और Peggy जो है दोनों अलग नहीं हो सकते थे. She was always the last to leave. They were the last to leave. Finally, Venda would move up the street. Finally, Venda जब रोड पे आती, her eyes dull and mouth closed, आंखें बिल्कुल dull, मुंह बिल्कुल बंद. Hitched her left shoulder every now and then. She was hitching her shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, बिल्कुल funny way में. Finishing the walk to school alone, और अपनी walk to school को finish करते हुए. Peggy was not really cruel. Peggy बहुत cruel नहीं थी. She protected small children from bullies. And उसने क्या किया? She just protected the small children from bullies. And she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. And उन्होंने क्राई किया फॉर आवर्स इफ शी सॉ एन एनिमल मिसट्रीटेड. अगर वो किसी एनिमल को मिसट्रीट होते देखती थी ना, देन आल्सो इफ एनीबडी हैड सेड टू हर, और किसी ने उनको अगर कुछ कहा, डोंट यू थिंक दैट इज अ क्रूअल वे टू ट्रीट वेंडा. दिस इज डोंट यू थिंक, आपको ऐसा नहीं लगता दैट दिस इज अ क्रूअल वे टू ट्रीट वेंडा? शी वुड हैव बीन वेरी सरप्राइज्ड. क्रूअल, अब उन्होंने बोला कि बहुत ही सरप्राइज कर देने वाली बात थी. क्रूअल, यस. Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Now they were saying कि इसने ऐसा क्यों बोलती है? Why she always keeps lying on कि she has 100 dresses, जबकि उसको भी पता है, and we all know that she really does not have. Anybody could tell that this was just a lie, कि वो झूठ बोल रही है, nothing more than that. Why did she want to lie? वो क्यों झूठ बोलना चाहती है? Now, and she wasn't just an ordinary person, else why she have a name like that? वो ordinary person तो नहीं है, otherwise उसका ऐसा name नहीं होता. We all know that उसका क्या नाम है. She has a name, that's not an ordinary name. Anyway, they never made her cry. आज तक उन्होंने सिर्फ उसको चिढ़ाया, but she never cried. वो कभी रोई नहीं. As for Maddie, this business of asking Venda, as for Maddie, ये जो business था ना, asking Venda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that she had was bothering her. And you know, as for Maddie, ये business क्या था of asking Venda every day, हर रोज Venda को पूछना that how many dresses you have, how many hats you have, how many this, how many that. ये जो चीजें थी was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. Maddie खुद भी एक poor girl थी. She always wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Hand-me-down means clothes means जो कोई और पहन लेता है और उसके बाद में कि वो पुराने हो गए या हमने पहन लिए, तो हम उसको किसी और को दे देते हैं ना. Those are known as hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't live up on Boggin Heights. Heights or have a funny name. Now she says further, वो क्या बोलते हैं? Thank goodness she didn't live up on Boggin Heights or have a funny name. या फिर उनका name जो है it's going to be very funny. Okay, sometimes when Peggy was asking Venda those questions in that mocking polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in her palm of her hand. Yes, so sometime when Peggy was asking Venda those questions in that mocking polite voice, so Maddie बहुत embarrassed feel करती थी. and studied, and she kept on studying the marbles in her palm of her hand and rolling them around and saying nothing herself. कुछ भी नहीं बोलती थी. Not that she felt sorry for Venda. ऐसा नहीं था कि मैडी को कुछ बुरा लग रहा था वेंडा के लिए, नहीं. Exactly. कुछ और reason था. What, she would never have paid any attention to Venda if Peggy hadn't invented the dress game. उसने बोला कि मैं वेंडा की तरफ कभी attention pay नहीं करती until and unless Peggy ने ये पूरा dress game start नहीं किया होता तो. But suppose Peggy and all others started it on her next. अब उसको चिंता इस चीज की होती थी that she was also not a rich girl and she was also always wearing the hand-me-down clothes. And she says कि what next, क्या होगा if this game is further being played on me. अगर ये game इन्होंने वेंडा के बाद मुझ पे ही शुरू कर दिया, then what's going to happen? फिर मैं क्या करने वाली हूँ? But suppose Peggy and all the others started it on her next. She wasn't as poor as Venda, perhaps, but she was poor. Halanki, she is not that poor as Venda was, but perhaps it is the fact that she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. And of course, उसके पास में senses ज़्यादा थे than to say कि उसके पास में 100 dresses हैं. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. And still, she would not like for her to begin on her. Okay, फिर भी वो नहीं चाहेगी कि वो लोग उस पे भी मजाक उड़ाना शुरू कर दे. And she wished Peggy would stop teasing Venda Petronaski. And she really wished that Peggy would now stop teasing Venda Petronaski. वो चाहती थी ऐसा that she should stop teasing her. But वो अपनी तरफ से इस चीज के against नहीं जा सकती थी. She somehow has to help them or support Peggy क्योंकि वो Peggy से inseparable थी. And along with that, she was having a fear कि आज मैंने इनका साथ नहीं दिया तो they'll start making fun of me. So this was the trouble. Okay. So now moving on to the third section. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Venda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8. Let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy. To say, hey Peg, let's stop asking Venda how many dresses she has. So today, even though what school के लिए late हो गए, Maddie was glad that कि चलो, either I know that we are late, but I am very happy that कम से कम हमें Venda नहीं मिली, so we need not have to make fun of her. And she worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. She says 8 times 8 and further चलो ठीक है, move on. उसे नहीं पता था वो क्या करे, because the mind जो था ना वो constant नहीं था. Let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note. She was just having a wish कि काश उसमें इतनी हिम्मत होती कि वो Peggy को एक note लिखती. ठीक है, writing a note to Peggy and saying that उसमें इतना courage होता to speak out to Peggy and say, hey Peg, let's stop asking Venda that how many dresses she has. That is, let us now stop teasing and playing this dress game with Venda. It's more than enough that has already happened. So we should stop this. ये उसकी wish थी, but actually she was not able to do this. वो नहीं कर पाएगी, ठीक है? Now, further what she says. Now, when she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. उसने arithmetic finish करके एक note लिखना शुरू किया Peggy को. But suddenly she paused and shuddered. Suddenly she paused and just shuddered. That is, छोड़ दिया ये विचार उन्होंने. She pictured herself in schoolyard. उन्होंने schoolyard में अपने आप को just pictured, and a new target for Peggy and the girls. Why she shuddered the plan? Because she was just having an imagination that now she is the next girl in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on. Peggy उससे पूछ सकती थी कि ये dress कहाँ से लाए तुम that she had on, जो तुमने पहनी है. And Maddie would have to say it's one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise. Now, अगर Peggy ये बोल देती और Maddie को ये चीज बोलनी पड़ेगी that ये Peggy की एक old dress है, which